When my wife Madeline texted me, "You're on thin ice," I chuckled. It seemed like one of those playful, sarcastic messages couples toss back and forth. But something in me told me it wasn't just a joke. We'd been drifting for months. Every effort I made to reconnect was met with cold smiles and half-hearted excuses. Madeline worked as a senior HR manager at a large tech firm. Confident, outspoken, admired by everyone, including me once. Lately, though, she'd changed. Her work events ran late into the night. Her laughter on calls didn't sound like hers anymore. There was a sharp, dismissive tone in her voice, like I'd gone from being her husband to just another employee. That night, after her text, I asked how her day went. "Rough day," she replied with a shrug. "Not really. Just dealing with a few idiots at work. One of them's getting too friendly." I didn't realize she wasn't talking about a coworker hitting on her. She was talking about herself. The following weekend, we went to a company dinner. She looked stunning, but her attention was everywhere except on me. I caught her exchanging glances with a man across the room, tall, charming, her coworker Ryan. When I asked who he was, she smiled. "Relax, Jake. He reports to me." Reports to her. The words lingered like poison. Later that night, I overheard her laughing on the balcony, whispering into her phone. I couldn't make out everything, but one line stuck. "Don't worry, he's harmless." That was me, harmless. I didn't confront her. Not yet. The next morning, while making coffee, I noticed her work phone left on the counter. A notification popped up. "Ryan. Last night was worth the risk." I just stared at it. A week earlier, she had warned me I was on thin ice. I didn't realize she was already skating toward the edge herself. For the next few days, I lived in silence. Not the peaceful kind, but the kind that hums with questions you already know the answers to. Madeline moved around the house as if nothing had changed. She smiled, kissed me goodbye, and texted emojis during the day. But now, every laugh, every late-night work dinner, sounded like a rehearsed lie. I didn't explode. I didn't beg. I started paying attention. Her perfume had changed, muskier, not the floral scent she once loved. Her passwords changed. Even the way she dressed shifted, less professional, more daring. Small details, but to a man whose wife just joked he was on thin ice, they felt like red flags planted in fresh snow. That Friday, she said she'd be out late again. "HR review meeting," she said, rolling her eyes. "Don't wait up." I nodded. "Sure, stay warm." She smiled, kissed my cheek, and left, unaware that her phone had synced with our shared cloud months ago. At 10:47 p.m., new photos automatically uploaded. Most were innocent. Dinner plates, wine glasses, city skylines, but one caught my eye. A reflection in a restaurant window, Madeline Yell-9, leaning close to Ryan, his hand brushing her knee. Her smile wasn't professional. It was personal. I just sat there in the dark, phone in hand, heart pounding so hard I could hear it. I didn't feel rage, just a sharp, cold calm, the kind I felt before walking away from something already broken. The next morning, I acted normal, made breakfast, asked about her night. She lied effortlessly. "Just office talk, politics and paperwork," she said. But I knew something else. The irony. Madeline, the HR manager, the one who trained others on ethics and professional conduct, was about to face her own policy review. I backed up the photos and messages. Quietly, methodically, the way a man does when he knows he's no longer the fool, but the witness. By Monday, she got another message on her work phone. This one wasn't from Ryan. It was from HR. Please report to the compliance office for a mandatory review. Today at 2 p.m. When Madeline came home that evening, her confidence was gone. Her heels clicked against the floor like she was walking on glass. I looked up from the couch, pretending not to notice the storm in her eyes. They called me in, she said quietly. HR, they said there's been a complaint about inappropriate conduct. She tried to laugh, but it came out shaky. Can you believe someone's jealous or trying to sabotage me? I didn't answer. I just asked. Did they mention who filed it? She hesitated. Ryan's name came up, but it's nothing serious. They just want to ask questions. I nodded, pretending to be supportive. I'm sure they'll figure it out. But she didn't know what I knew. Her company had strict zero-tolerance policies. The anonymous evidence, messages, photos, timestamps had all been compiled neatly and sent from a private account. Not out of spite, but out of justice. She played her game on thin ice. I simply made sure the cracks showed. By midweek, she was a shadow of herself, pacing, crying quietly in the bathroom, snapping at me over nothing. The woman who once laughed about putting people on thin ice now knew how fragile it felt beneath her own feet. Friday morning, she got the call. Madeline, the voice said flatly, after reviewing the evidence and interviews, we're terminating your employment effective immediately. Please return your badge and company property today. She froze, phone pressed to her ear, face pale. They can't. I didn't. But the line was already dead. That evening, she sat on the couch, staring at nothing. The same place where she had once laughed at me over a text. I walked past her quietly, grabbed my coat, and paused at the door. You told me I was on thin ice, I said softly. Looks like it finally cracked. Her eyes filled with tears, but I didn't wait for her reply. The sound of the door closing behind me was the cleanest silence I'd heard in years. Because sometimes karma doesn't shout. It whispers, what goes around comes around.